What would you do if a stranger demanded your home for their own desires, as if they owned your very life? This is the story of how a single summer day, drenched in the golden haze of July, spiraled into a storm of defiance, betrayal, and bitter consequence. It began with a knock on my door, a sound so innocuous it belied the chaos that would follow. My name is Daniel Harper, and I live in a modest house on the edge of Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb where everyone knows your name but not always your business. The backyard pool, a shimmering oasis I'd saved years to build, was my pride and joy. It wasn't just a pool. It was a sanctuary, a place where my daughter Lily and I would float under the stars, whispering dreams as fireflies danced. But that summer, Karen Mitchell moved into the neighborhood, and with her came a hurricane of entitlement. Karen was the kind of woman who wore her privilege like a crown, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. She'd barely unpacked her moving boxes before she started throwing her weight around, complaining about unkempt lawns or kids playing too loudly. I'd heard the rumors. She'd demanded the community park repaint their benches because they clashed with her Instagram aesthetic. But I never thought her audacity would crash into my life. It was a sweltering Saturday when she appeared at my door, her lips pursed in a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Daniel, right?" she said, not waiting for a reply. "I'm throwing a party next weekend. My friends are coming from the city, and your pool is perfect. I'll need it for the day." Not a question, not a request, just a command, as if my property was hers to claim. I blinked, stunned. "Excuse me? You want to use my pool?" "Yes," she said, inspecting her manicured nails. "It's the only decent one around here. I'll handle the catering so you don't need to worry. Just make sure it's clean by Saturday." The nerve of her words lit a spark in me, but I kept my voice steady. "Karen, I don't know you, and I'm not comfortable with strangers using my pool. It's private property." Her smile vanished, replaced by a scowl. "Don't be selfish, Daniel. It's just one day. My friends expect a certain vibe, and your pool is it. I'll pay you $50 for the trouble." $50? For my sanctuary? I laughed, a bitter sound that made her flinch. "No, Karen. The answer is no." She didn't back down. Over the next few days, she escalated. First came the emails, long-winded rants about community spirit, and how I was ruining her reputation. Then she cornered me at the grocery store, her voice loud enough to draw stares. "You're making a mistake, Daniel. People like me get what we want." By Thursday, she'd posted on the neighborhood Facebook group, spinning a tale about how I was hoarding my pool out of spite. Comments piled up, some defending me, others calling me a jerk. The pressure was suffocating, but I held firm. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. On Friday, as I mowed my lawn, a man approached me, Tom, a quiet widower who lived across the street. He was an unassuming guy, always tinkering in his garage, rarely joining neighborhood gossip. "Daniel," he said, his voice low, "I overheard Karen at the diner. She's not just planning a party. She's charging her friends $200 a head for an exclusive pool bash at your place. She's selling tickets." I froze, the mower's hum fading into a dull roar in my ears. Karen wasn't just entitled, she was profiting off my property without my consent. The audacity burned through me like wildfire. "Thanks, Tom," I said, my mind already racing. I didn't know Tom well, but his quiet warning shifted something in me. He wasn't just a neighbor. He was an ally in a war I hadn't chosen. That night, I made a decision. If Karen wanted my pool, she'd get it, but not the way she expected. I spent hours researching, calling pool maintenance companies, and by dawn, I had a plan. It wasn't kind and it wasn't subtle, but it felt like justice. I rented an industrial pump, the kind used to drain ponds, and by Friday evening I was ready. As the sun sank, I turned on the pump, watching the water gurgle and vanish into the drainage system. By midnight, the pool was a dry, concrete shell, its tiles glinting mockingly under the moonlight. Saturday morning, Karen arrived with her entourage, 20 strangers in designer sunglasses, toting coolers and inflatable flamingos. I stood on my porch, arms crossed, as she marched up, her face a mask of triumph. "See, Daniel? I told you I'd make it happen." I gestured to the backyard. "Go ahead, Karen. Enjoy the pool." Her scream when she saw it was primal, a sound that echoed through the neighborhood. The empty pool gaped like a wound, its barrenness a silent rebuke. Her guests murmured, confused, as she spun toward me, her face red with fury. "What did you do?" she shrieked. "You ruined everything." "I told you no," I said calmly. "You didn't listen." She fumbled for her phone, dialing 911 with trembling hands. "I'm calling the cops. You can't do this. This is vandalism." Her guests milled awkwardly, some snapping photos, others slipping away. The police arrived quickly, 2 officers who looked more tired than alarmed. Karen ranted, pointing at the empty pool, claiming I'd sabotaged her charity event. I explained my side. My property, my rules, my right to drain my own pool. The officers exchanged glances, then told Karen there was no crime here. "Ma'am, he can do what he wants with his pool," one said, stifling a smirk. Humiliated, Karen stormed off, her guests trailing behind. I thought that was the end of it. But life, like water, has a way of seeping into cracks you don't see. Days later, Lily came home from school, her eyes red. "Dad, why are people saying you're mean?" she asked. Karen had taken to social media, painting me as a villain who'd ruined her fundraiser for a local animal shelter. The lie stung, especially when I saw neighbors I'd known for years giving me cold looks. Worse, Lily's friends had started teasing her, calling her dad a pool hoarder. My defiance, once righteous, now felt like a stone in my chest. Then Tom knocked on my door again. "Daniel," he said, holding a USB drive. "I found something." He'd been digging, not just listening at diners but scouring online forums where Karen had been careless. The USB held screenshots of her real plans. The charity was a sham, the money meant for her personal vacation fund. Tom, the quiet widower, had lost his wife to a scam years ago and had made it his mission to expose frauds like Karen. His evidence was ironclad, and when I posted it online, the neighborhood's tide turned. Karen's lies unraveled, and her reputation crumbled faster than her party had. But victory was bitter. The pool stayed empty, a reminder of the fight I'd won at a cost. Lily stopped swimming, saying the pool felt sad now. I'd protected my home, but I'd lost something intangibly, a piece of the joy we'd shared in that water. I'd stood up to Karen's entitlement, but the ripples of her chaos touched my daughter, my neighbors, my peace. As I stood by the dry pool one evening, staring at the cracked tiles, I wondered if I'd done the right thing. Karen had demanded my world, and I'd fought back with everything I had. But in draining the pool, I drained a part of myself too. The water was gone, and so was the laughter that once echoed there. Maybe that was her final victory. Nd.